Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episode 17 of Dororo. And we are continuing right off of last episode where, you know, Itachi was an asshole. Yeah. Oh, and Shark Boy was there. Yeah. So, last episode continued off with Itachi kidnapping Dororo and using him in order to find the treasure hidden by his parents. They came upon this destroyed, abandoned village and met this guy who he's missing an arm. He looks pretty banged up, and he's caring for a couple of sharks, which explained where the arm went. He fed it to the sharks. Um, so he helps them get across the water and stuff, but it's revealed it's a trap, and he's going to feed them to the sharks. One of the boats that their group is on is completely destroyed, and everyone is eaten, and it's horrifying. Um, like honestly, this is going to be kind of funny, but you know how people always like went on about Jaws and everything, and how during the time it came out, it was supposed to be really scary and like made people like really afraid of sharks more so than usual and stuff. And I've always thought maybe it's because I it came out way before I was born and stuff, but I never found it scary. I never found Jaws scary. It's just it's so fake looking. It's just not scary to me. It's more comical than anything. Um, uh, but because of it, it's like I never kind of had that feeling about it. And it's like I've seen other shark movies that are done better and that have much more intimidation to them. But with it, it's just like I never really thought about that. And it's like honestly, the shark attack with completely destroying that boat and killing everyone on it in the last episode of Dororo was actually much scarier. Like legitimately much scarier than Jaws ever was to me. Even as a kid, I never found Jaws scary. And yes, I saw Jaws as a kid. I know, kind of weird. I was a kid when the first Mummy movie came out. God, I mean the Brendan Fraser remakes. I should specify, obviously. Hard to believe it was that long ago, but yeah, that scared me as a kid. That one did. But yeah, I was never really scared of Jaws, and it's like this was definitely scary. I mean, mind you, I like wasn't like really that scared of the last episode. It's just I'm just saying it was scarier. What we actually saw and the way it was presented was handled much better. Um, but either way, so they man with Dororo kind of using his intellect and stuff, they managed to take down the one of the sharks, killing it, and then they brought it to shore, leaving it as a message to the shark guy. They ended up leading him into a trap, capturing him, and then the worst part of the episode came. Not in terms of like its quality, but in terms of the fact that it made me extremely uncomfortable and it made me hate Itachi that much more. In order to get the map and everything, in order to get some kind of clue, they forcefully sexually assault Dororo by stripping him, and then make a blatant point of misgendering him because of his body. And it's absolutely horrible. It's disgusting and it's horrible and it pisses me off. And it's like prior to this, it's like you could kind of see like a slight, very, very slight hint of possible redeemability to Itachi, even if it were like, oh, he was gonna redeem himself in by dying or something like that. But you could kind of see the most tiniest sliver of it there, the very slight possibility. But that it's just like I don't even want him redeemed at that point. I don't want them to try and redeem him. I want him to die. It sounds harsh, but it's like no, fuck him. It's like that's not okay. For again, for multiple reasons. It's not even just the entire misgendering thing. It's also the sexual assault. Forcefully stripping someone against their will is sexual assault. And it's just like, my God, it pisses me off so much. But after that, it looks like the shark guy is going to plan an attack with the remaining shark who was mourning its sibling. And so, yeah, shit's about to go down in this episode. Shit is about to go down for sure. Um, we can obviously assume Dororo will survive. In fact, we can pretty much guarantee it because he's the title character and one of the two main characters. As for how he's going to get out of this, it's hard to say. Hyakimaru had noticed Dororo was gone, so he might come and try to save him. Um, then again, Dororo also showed last episode how strong and smart he could be. He could end up saving himself. In fact, I think that would actually be pretty cool if he did. It would just it would emphasize his strength and his intellect even more to do so, to do that. And again, he's still a kid though, so honestly, if Hyakimaru does save him, I would be fine with it because he is still a kid. He's very smart, he's very strong, he's very resourceful, but he is a kid. Like he's needed help on multiple occasions because of it. He just doesn't have the physical ability to be able to stand up to enemies like this as often. Also, I find it interesting that this this two-parter here, let's just call it that. I was going to say two-episode mini arc, but not really. It's not really a mini arc. But this two-parter, I find it interesting that it's not about demons at all. Like this entire series has had such a huge focus on demons, and there's only been like a very small amount of episodes and moments that really haven't been about that. Um, so I like that this two-parter is more about the evils of man, how people can be just straight fucked up, and it's not always about the demons or whatnot. And we've seen throughout this series that the moral gray aspect of it is a huge point to the theming and messages of the show. It focuses heavily on the moral gray, and while of course in real life there are things that are just black and white, good and evil. There are like no one with any sense of common decency or a brain would even try to say that Nazis are morally gray. No, Nazis are fucking evil and need to be purged. There's nothing gray about that. But it's like in this world, in the world of Dororo, things are more morally gray. And that's the thing about fiction, is that you can portray that a lot easier because it's fiction. You see demons in here, it's like, and like some of them are actually like okay. Like there's some demons that just want to love and stuff. Like the one female demon we met before. And there's some humans who are more evil than some demons. And there's some of both sides who just are morally gray and just they have good and bad in them. And it's a big theming to this series, and I like that. Um, obviously I believe that Hyakimaru and Dororo are going to make up, and Hyakimaru is probably going to apologize for honestly the way he was acting and probably work to control his anger towards the demons more. Um, it's just a matter of if is it going to happen this episode, or are they going to wait to do that still? We're going to have to see. But we're coming close to the end. There's like either 24 or 26 episodes. I can't remember. I could actually look that up because I have all the episodes downloaded. There's 24. There's 24 episodes. We're on episode 17. So it's like we're pretty much almost there. We're like 7 episodes away from the end. And mind you, I don't know if there will be a second season or whatnot, because I know the actual story goes further than this. But it's like, with what we've been given, with what we have, this is the kind of series that at this point I think I can say, like, without too much question, what I think about the characters. And it's like, you would think, like, oh yeah, by 17 episodes in, of course you can. You've been with these characters the entire time, of course you know what to think. But it's like sometimes a series kind of leaves you wondering and waiting to see exactly where their arcs go and stuff. And that's kind of how this one's been. But I want to say this briefly, what I think about their characters, specifically these two. Because the other characters, especially like Hyakimaru's brother, I still have to wait to see what they're going to do with him. But Hyakimaru kind of feels like one of those avenging hero archetypes done well, because we see how much he struggles with the own gray morality within him. We see how he makes notably bad decisions. But we also understand why he's doing this stuff. We understand what his reasoning is. And we can sympathize with him and empathize. So you see both sides of the argument here. It's like, I like him, but at the same time, while I am rooting for him and want to see him get all his body back, I feel like we need to acknowledge when he does bad things or wrong things, or when he just makes decisions that are not good. And I think that goes for almost any character, really. Even my favorite characters, it's like I acknowledge when they do something stupid. Like, I love Korra from The Legend of Korra, and it's like, oh yeah, she does a lot stupid. She is a fucking moron at times, and does horrible stuff. Yeah, of course. That doesn't mean I don't love her character. It just means that she has more to her character. And Hyakimaru's kind of the same way here. There's a lot of depth to him. Despite his circumstances in growing up, despite everything that's kind of shaped his life, it's like he does have depth to him, and I like that. But after that, we have Dororo himself, and honestly, there's been points where I've questioned why the show is specifically named after Dororo, but it's very clear to me now. It's like, this is his show. Hyakimaru is honestly a supporting character in comparison. Obviously, he's a main character. I'm not saying he's actually a supporting character, but by comparison to how important and necessary and the role Dororo plays here, Hyakimaru is there to kind of help his journey along. Because Hyakimaru is kind of a one-note thing, right? It's pretty much, he has to get his body back. That's the entire goal. Yes, he has the stuff with his family as well, but that's just kind of a minor subplot that we don't know exactly how it's going to go, but the focus is still on getting his body back. And that's why him and Dororo separated last time. Because it was such like a just eagle-eyed focus for him that he lost sight of everything else. And again, he's a very complex and in-depth character, but that is the main thing for him. And I think that in these final episodes, they're going to at least start to change that. Dororo, meanwhile, he's where all the emotional depth comes from. He's where all the complexity of character comes from. He's the one who's constantly asking questions about, is this right? Or what's really going on here? Or who are these people? And why are they doing what they're doing? Stuff like that. Like, this series is named after him. This series is based around him. Because he's the character who we're supposed to be seeing the series through. He's the character who this series like revolves around. And that's great. I love to see that because even though it almost seems like it's trying to make us think that Hyakimaru is the main character, like the main character, you know what I mean? Like Ruby is the main character of Ruby, but all of them are kind of, you know what I mean? Even though it seems like it's trying to make us believe that, it never shies away from the focus being reverted back to Dororo. And yeah, we kind of see through his eyes. We kind of feel the same things he is about these situations. It's like when we saw with that last village, with the moth demons and stuff, when we saw how their actions to kill the demons caused all that pain and death and poverty and shit. We understood and sympathized and empathized with Dororo when he asked, like, is this right? It's like he's the character we're supposed to be viewing the story through. And I love it. I love it. On top of that, he's very funny. He's very personable. He's likable. He's extremely entertaining to watch, whether it's through serious moments or goofy moments. He he's just such a well realized character, and yet he always feels like he's his age. It never feels like they're trying to make him too smart. It never feels like they're trying to make him like too overly childish. He always feels like he's his age, like they made a realistic portrayal of a of this age going through this kind of stuff. And granted, of course, I don't know for sure like how a kid would be like going through this kind of shit, but this is exactly how I would imagine it, and it just feels more natural. So honestly, Dororo is the driving point of this show for me. He is the reason why I love it so much, why it's so good to me. It's because of him specifically. And obviously, there's other things I love too, mind you, but he is definitely the driving force. So, either way, we've talked long enough in these pre thoughts, but I did want to kind of give these thoughts because we are getting close to the end here. And hopefully, we'll get a good episode here to close out this two-parter, and we'll see how it goes. But either way, let's just get this going. Hope for the best, and hope to see Itachi get his fucking balls shoved down his throat for all I care. Yeah. When we begin, I got a little. I threw myself off with that line. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So yeah, 2 episodes. It's mostly because of just how that first episode went down and like what it was focused on. I wanted to see the conclusion to what we got last time, so I wanted to make sure we got to that second episode there. So yeah, these episodes were pretty good, but for different reasons. So episode 17 focused on Hyakumaru's uh, reuniting with Jukai. Uh, so Jukai and Hyakumaru meet again, and although the former is very pleased about seeing him again, he's also very upset. Like he's not angry, but he's sad over what Hyakumaru has become. He can see right away from seeing how Hyakumaru fights off the demons. He can see exactly what his son has become. And I said it during the reaction, I'm saying it again here. It's like he is, in all intents and purposes, Hyakumaru's father. Maybe not by birth, but he is his true, real, loving father. He's the one who cared for him when his birth father abandoned him for dead, and was the one who made the deal with the demons in the first place. So yeah. um so we see that Jukai does not want to encourage the path that Hyakumaru is taking. He can tell Hyakumaru by the way he fights and all is taking up dark path, that he's had to kill people and that he's succumbing to the evils of the world. He refuses to make him a new leg because he doesn't want to encourage this. And he's just trying to he does genuinely care about Hyakumaru and wants the best for him. He doesn't want Hyakumaru to become who he used to be. He was so scarred and so traumatized by the way he used to be once he realized it. I mean, he doesn't want Hyakumaru to go down that path as well. He wants him to avoid anything like that. So he refuses to replace his prosthetic leg, and in the end has to bid him farewell. But before leaving, Hyakumaru calls him mom, calls him his mama. And it's like, we know exactly what he means because Jukai has the same aura as his mother does. Hyakumaru sees the same caring, loving humanity that he saw in his mother. The only other person he's seen that kind of aura from, outside of maybe Dororo. So when he called Jukai mama, it's like, obviously we know he doesn't think that he's his mama, but we know exactly what he means. We know the emotional depth behind it. And I think Jukai does too. I think Jukai understood what he meant. And you saw how it brought Jukai to tears. You saw how he was really like moved by that, really touched by that affection. Not just because, of course, it was directed at him, but that kind of affection, that kind of humanity is what Jukai wants to see in Hyakumaru. So that is it's a step in the right direction, and he can tell it's like that Dororo, from what he's heard and everything, might be the help that Hyakumaru needs to stay on the right path. And so the second episode continues off from where episode 16 left off. Except we also see now other stuff. Because in episode 17, we also had Tahomaru kind of leaving behind his emotions and focusing entirely on protecting the land. And so he's being sent out to take out Hyakumaru and anyone associated with him. So in episode 18, continuing off from where we last left off, Dororo is still in trouble. He's still being horribly mistreated by Itachi. Shark Boy is still mourning over his shark, and again, I really don't like that his shark ended up being a demon shark. Um, at least the one that survived at first did, um, until Hyakimaru killed it. But I assume they both were. It's just I feel like it's I don't know. I just like the fact that it wasn't. I figured it wasn't a demon, but oh well. I mean, nothing I knew about it now. Nothing I could do about it anyway. Um, but yeah, so Hyakimaru ends up coming to the island and fighting off the shark and reuniting with Dororo and everything, while Itachi's group are still trying to find the treasure and find it booby trapped. Tohomaru's group, meanwhile, comes upon them as well, and basically an all-out fight begins between Tohomaru and his army and the combined forces of Itachi's group and Dororo and Hyakimaru. But there's a third party. There's a wild card in the mix because as everyone's fighting and Tohomaru and Hyakimaru are kind of at a stalemate after Hyakimaru takes care of the others, at least to a point where he can fight Tohomaru kind of one on one. We see Shark Boy again, and to get revenge for his sharks, he decides just to blow everything up, killing himself in the process and trying to take everyone out with him. And he takes a shit ton of people out with him. But Itachi and Dororo manage to get away by falling into the treasure cove, whatever you want to call it. But Itachi had already suffered too many injuries, and so he dies after seeing the treasure. And Tohomaru and them have to escape while one of them is injured, and so yeah, a lot of shit went down. In the end, though, Hyakimaru and Dororo made up. They are traveling together again, and we see from Dororo's interaction with and his caring attitude towards Itachi, even in the end, even after everything Itachi's done to him, we see the kind of humanity and light in Dororo that is going to be able to keep Hyakimaru on the right path. And we already know that Dororo has been trying to do that. We already know that that's why they split up in the first place, because Dororo was upset at the way that was handled before. So yeah. So Shark Boy, he just felt like one of those like episodic characters. Like he didn't really have any huge presence. Itachi, I think I said this last time, but it was about time narratively for him to go as well. But also, I just wanted to see him die, and I'm glad he did because he was a really, really horrible shitbag, and I hated him. Um, like God, he pissed me the fuck off, like really badly last time and this time. Like the sexual assault and misgendering of Dororo was just, I that really got to me. Like that really angered me. So yeah, I'm happy he's dead. Not just like relieved or okay with him. I'm happy he is dead. Um, Tohomaru is definitely headed on the wrong path. Like the entire thinking with your brain instead of your heart, if you want to word it that way, kind of ideology is dumb and terrible and everything. And it's like he's literally doing the wrong thing and excusing it by he's becoming his father, who he's already pointed out is doing bad, and he's excusing it by saying it's for the people of the land and stuff. And it's like, dude, no, it's not. You're just making yourself believe that to make yourself feel less bad about what you're doing. But that's not the last, obviously, we're going to see of them. There's going to be at least one more big fight in this series. We have 7 more episodes to go. Or 6 more episodes now, actually. Because we watched 2 episodes this time. Um, so there's definitely going to be at least one more big fight there. Maybe involving Daigo this time, too. Um, oh, excuse me. But yeah, it's like I'm very interested to see where these last episodes go, and if we ever even get a second season, or if this will kind of just be as definitive of an end as we'll need. We'll have to see. Um, but yeah, I'm really glad that Hyakimaru and Dororo are back together. I'm glad Dororo is safe. Hyakimaru got his leg back after killing the shark, so he's got more to him again. He, he's he's healing. The process continues, and yeah, it's. I feel it's setting up stuff for the future with all of that stuff with Jukai, and now the stuff with Tohomaru and his armies here, and it's setting stuff up for where this is going to end, to where this at least season is going to end. Again, I don't know if there's any plans for a second season or not, but either way, I am still excited to see where this goes. I'm really, really enjoying this series, like more so than I ever thought I would. And yeah, I hope that it concludes, at least for now, on a good note. That's positive for Dororo, especially. But either way, tell me in the comments below what you thought of these 2 episodes, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.